Welcome to Soft Landing, the real world business podcast for solopreneurs and micro business owners. I'm Bex, I'm your straight talking business coach, and I'm here to give you practical ideas, honest conversations, and useful things that you can take away and implement in your own business. No judgment, no polished perfection, just real world support to help you grow, whatever that looks like for you. Okay, so this is the very first podcast episode of Soft Landing. I'm going to be talking about why creatives still have slow months. And this is applicable even if you're not a creative, but for any solopreneur, for any small business owner. If you have some months that are okay and some months that are not okay, you have some quiet months, then you're going to want to watch this. You're going to want to watch this episode because I'm going to delve into some of the main excuses that we give ourselves about why this happens, and I'm also going to talk about what you can do to rectify this and get yourself to a place where you're having really consistent high revenue months. Hope you enjoy. Why talented creatives still have quiet months. And this is something that comes up for me again and again and again. I work with lots and lots of business owners and founders that are creatives. So writers, photographers, videographers, designers of all different kinds, brand designers, web designers, that kind of stuff. And one thing that comes up again and again with this kind of business owner is they feel like even though they're super talented, they have, a huge back catalogue of work that is absolutely beautiful. They've got really happy clients swinging from chandeliers, shouting from the rooftops how wonderful they are. So all the talent is there, all the quality is there. They've got all the evidence for it, but they're still having quiet months, and they find this really, really frustrating. They know that they're really good at what they do because, like I said, they've got all of these clients that are singing their praises, and they've got all of the evidence to back that up as well. So they know that like I said, that talent is there, but they still have these quiet months. And what can sometimes happen when they have these quiet months is the doubt can start to creep in. As we all know, that little doubt that gets fed into our brains can be really damaging. As a business owner, that can be really damaging because it can stop you being visible. It can stop you showing up. It can stop you taking the actions that you need to take to grow your business. But it's not just that doubt, it's also everything else that goes with it. So it's like how that manifests itself in like the work that you do and how you talk to your clients and how you talk to prospects and all that kind of stuff. So what I really wanted to call out in this session was these kind of 4 places where this shows up and where this becomes a problem, and the excuses and the reasons that creators will give for why this is happening, and I'm going to call them out in this session. So you can see on the screen here we've got these are like kind of the 4 big buckets that I hear all the time. So one of those is that my work speaks for itself. Is that not enough? Should it not just be enough that the quality of my work is incredible and all these people are saying wonderful things about me and I've got all the testimonials and all the proof? Like, that would be great, but unfortunately that's often not the case. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Something else that comes up again and again and again is, I get loads of referrals. I rely on referrals. And you know what? Referrals are wonderful, aren't they? They're absolutely fantastic. However, we cannot grow and scale a business on referrals alone. So we're going to talk about that as well. I don't want to bug people. Have you ever said this? I don't want to bug them though. I don't want to be pushy. All those kind of phrases that we use. So we'll talk about that. And then the holy grail of excuses. I'm too busy. Yes, sometimes you are too busy. Sometimes I'm too busy. Sometimes we're all too busy. But that is not the universal excuse for everything. We can't just keep saying that we're too busy, and that's our reason why things haven't been done, why we haven't moved forward with stuff. So these are the 4 things that I'm going to talk about in this video, and these are things that, like I said, I hear these coming up time and time again, and these are the 4 key reasons why really, really talented people keep having quiet months. So let's talk about them. So number 1, my work should speak for itself. Again, I fully agree. I think your work should speak for itself. I wish it could be that easy. I wish it could just be the case that in business, you do quality work and that equals clients. And it follows, doesn't it? Like that's kind of how things should be. The people that are doing bad quality work shouldn't get clients, and the people that are doing great quality work should get clients in whatever industry that you're doing. You know, if you're doing a great job for your clients, that should be rewarded by more clients. Surely, surely that should be the case. But it's not. That's just not how things work. And there's lots of different reasons for that, but it's a fact. It's a fact of business that is not how things work. Now, am I saying that you shouldn't care about quality? Absolutely not. Of course, you need to care highly about quality. However, when you're a creative business owner and you are already producing high quality of work, we just need to take it that step further, and we just need to bring in the proactive activity. So this is something that I talk about a lot with my clients. We call it PCA. We talk about PCA all the time, and PCA stands for proactive conversational action. So this is any action that you take to proactively start a conversation. And this could be starting a conversation with an existing client about signing up again and doing some more work together. It could be a completely cold interaction, like you could be sending a cold DM with somebody. That's you proactively starting a conversation. And it could be anything in between those two kind of extremes. But our clients aren't going to connect the dots. So just you putting examples of your work there out there, just you showing like the results that you're getting isn't always enough for your ideal clients to take that action and come towards you and take the next step and say, hey, I'd like to do some work with you. Hey, I'd like to sign up. Again, I'd love it if that was the case for all of us. That's just what happened. And of course, that happens sometimes. But when we're really trying to grow our business and we're trying to get some more volume coming through of the perfect clients that we want to work with, we have to connect those dots for them. We have to take that proactive action and start the conversation with them. We have to make it as easy as possible for them to see what that next step is. Is it to book a call with you? Is it to come to your next free event? Is it to just, go on the website and just sign up, buy the thing? What is that next step? Like, show them what it is, tell them what it is, make it really easy, connect those dots for them. And what you will find is when you start routinely doing PCA, proactive conversational action, like making things easy for your clients to take the next step with you, you will find that those quiet months become fewer and more far between. And again, I apologize for using the C word here. You have to be consistent with it. You can't just do one little bout of PCA activity where you spend a couple of hours messaging a load of people and starting the conversations and think that's enough. It's got to be something that you do consistently. And one of the things that I talk to my clients about is, let's not start making claims that we're going to start messaging like 100 people a day or something like that, because it's not realistic. But if you set yourself a smaller challenge where you said, you know what, I'm going to contact proactively 5 people every single day, and I'm going to start a conversation with them. And like I said, those people could be cold DMs that you send. It could be old clients that you worked with years ago that you're going to reconnect with. It could be existing clients to say, shall we do some more work together? It could be someone that liked a post, there's tons of different people that it could be, but it's about making that something that happens consistently. So you taking that action to reach out to people, maybe a smaller amount of times or as many times as you feel you can do on a daily basis. And then it will become a habit. It'll become something that you just do. It will become something that doesn't feel like this big uncomfortable thing. And we'll come and talk about feeling uncomfortable a little bit more later on in some of the other sections. So that's the first one. So yes, your work should speak for itself, but it doesn't always track that way. You have to take the proactive action, connect the dots for your clients and make it really easy for them to see what the next step is in potentially working with you. So the next one we've got there is I just rely on referrals. And like I said in the intro, like that's great. Like referrals are wonderful. When you get somebody else saying, I thought so-and-so was wonderful. I loved what Bex did on, whatever it is that I did. That's a brilliant accolade. It's a great place to start with somebody, isn't it? Where someone else has already like cheerleaded for you. However, we've got very little control over that. And that's the main drawback of this, is that when you're a business owner and you're really relying on referrals, you haven't got a huge amount of control over that. So if you need to turn that up or down, if you need more clients in a particular month to hit your revenue target, or you need less because you're already at capacity, you've got very little control over that. And yes, we can contact our existing clients and ask them to refer us to other people, or old clients. We can take some proactive action by asking people to refer us to other people that they know. So we've got a little bit of control like that, but outside of that, you've got very little control over what happens. And so what that means for you is, when you are having a quiet month, if you do rely on referrals, what are you going to do about it? Like, what can you do? You haven't got anything in place. You haven't got a system to fall back on. You're not, you haven't got habits already in place that you can just allow to, carry things forward for you. You can't turn those up or turn them down. Contact more people, contact less people. That kind of stuff. You're just there like a little leaf, like blowing in the wind. That's a song, isn't it? Anyway, let's crack on. So when they dry up, you've got very little control. So it can be a huge risk to your business to just rely on referrals. And so if this is something that you're doing in your business, we need to build in some other strategies to sit behind the referrals. Yes, take the referrals. Yes, encourage them as much as you can. But we also need another layer that sits behind them, so that you've got a bit of control if you need to turn things up or turn things down. So the third thing, and now we're going to start to get into it, because the third thing here is, I don't want to bug people, is quite similar as well to the I'm too busy. I know they're very different phrases, but underneath this phrase, I don't want to bug people, what you're actually saying is, I don't want to do that PCA activity. I don't want to contact people. I don't want to ask people to work with me. I don't want to invite someone to a sales call or to come to my next event, or whatever it happens to be. I don't want to bug them. I don't want to follow up. Maybe it's the follow-ups. That's another big one that happens a lot, is people will only follow up maybe once, if that, and that'll be it, because they don't want to bug them. And what they're actually saying is, it feels really uncomfortable. When I follow somebody up for the second or the third, or God forbid, the fourth or the fifth time, it feels really uncomfortable and I don't want to do it. But you know what? This is B2B sales. We're not selling double glazing. This is not somebody cold calling you at home at 8 p.m. while you're sat watching TV with your family saying, hey, do you want to buy something? Again, nothing against double glazing salespeople and nothing against cold calling. That's what you're doing. That's fine. But that's not what I'm talking about here. That's not what my clients are doing. This is not that kind of interaction. When we're looking at bugging people, when we're looking at following somebody up that made an inquiry, following up with somebody that came to your free events, when someone's expressed an interest in working with you, and you're going to say to them, well, would you like to book a sales call to talk about it? Or, maybe somebody's liked a post that you've put out there, and you might want to contact them and say, you liked my post, would you like some more information? Do you want to come to my free event? Or whatever it happens to be, whatever that invite, that ask, that proactive action, that PCA that I was talking about, whatever that is that you're doing, these are people that have shown some interest already in what you do. These are not just random people that we're just cold DMing. When we talk about, I don't want to bug somebody, when we're following up and those kind of things, the reason that you're saying that is because it feels uncomfortable, because in your head, you're making it mean that you're going to force them into buying something, or you're making it mean in your head that I'm going to make them buy the thing. I'm going to coerce them into it. I'm going to convince them. Any of those kind of forceful words. But actually, if we have people that have expressed an interest in working with us in whatever capacity, we've met somebody at networking and we've had a conversation with them, but a little bit of a chat, then reaching out to that person and saying, hey, we met at the networking last week. We had a bit of a chat over a coffee. I would love to delve a little bit deeper with you and explore that conversation we started a bit further. That's not bugging them. That's just continuing a conversation. And yes, it feels uncomfortable because you're putting yourself out there and you are opening yourself up to maybe getting rejected. Maybe they're going to judge you. Maybe they're going to say things. And that's what you're afraid of. And so what you're doing is you're stunting your business growth. You're stunting the amount of money that you can earn in your business because you're frightened of the rejection, or you're frightened of the judgment. You're frightened of putting yourself in that position. And for most business owners, that fear of rejection, that fear of judgment is way stronger than being skint. So you don't do it. You avoid that activity. Your brain is trying to keep you safe. If you want to bring a little bit of pop psychology into it, that's what's happening. Your brain is trying to keep you safe because it doesn't want you to go and get rejected. It doesn't want you to go and potentially have that person say things about you and judge you. But if you really want to grow your business and you want to stop having quiet months, you're going to have to find a way to overcome that. You're going to have to find a way to feel more comfortable doing some of these uncomfortable things. And one of the best ways that I know to do that is by exposure therapy. It's just doing it loads. Do it so much that the edge comes off it. It doesn't feel as scary anymore. It doesn't feel like something that you've got to build up to so much. So, and this is something that I use in my business all the time, exposure therapy. When there's something that you're scared of, you're not doing, or you find yourself avoiding it, distracting yourself with other things, or procrastinating, it's a clear sign that you need to lean into that. You need to find a way of getting past it. And exposure therapy, just saying, like, do you know what, I'm going to do this so much that it becomes completely second nature, and I won't be scared of it anymore, or at least I'll be less scared of it. You could look at, okay, how can I dial it back a little bit? What's the smallest version of this that I can do? So if it is that PCA activity, that proactive conversational action, where you are going to take the lead and you're going to go and start a conversation with somebody and say, whatever it is, hey, let's chat, or whatever it might be. What you need to do is, instead of saying, maybe, I'm going to contact all the people that have liked my posts over the last however long, I'm just going to do one today, and then I'm going to do one tomorrow, and I'm going to get in a habit of doing that once every single day. And once you've established that habit and it starts to feel a little bit less uncomfortable, then you can turn the volume up on it, and you can start doing 5 a day, 10 a day, or whatever it happens to be. So if that's something that you say a lot, I don't want to bug people, think about what's really underneath you saying, I don't want to bug people. Is it that actually I'm scared they're going to say no, I'm scared they're going to ignore me, I'm scared they're going to judge me, they might say things? If it's any of that, you must find a way of moving past it. The best ways that I know, like I said, is exposure therapy, just doing it so much that it just doesn't feel scary anymore, or lowering that bar and making it a really, really easy version of it so that you can start to build the habit. And then the last thing I've got here is I'm too busy. And like I said, again, in the intro, I appreciate there are some days when this is true. There are some times when you are genuinely too busy. But for those of you that are saying you are too busy to contact people and ask them to come to your event, book a sales call, whatever it might happen to be. For those of you that are telling yourself that you're too busy to put a post out on social media, or write an email to your email list, or whatever the action is. For those of you that are saying you are too busy, I'm sorry to tell you, but the vast majority of the time, you're just making an excuse. You know that you are lying to yourself about it. And actually, it's the same as what we talked about there in we don't want to bug people. It's that fear that actually, if we take this action, if we do the thing that we're scared of, if we write the email and we send it, maybe no one will reply. Maybe people will read it and they'll think things about me, like, how dare she send me an email offering her product? They might think stuff. You might ask somebody if they want a sales call and they might say no, and then you're going to feel rejected. It's all of those same feelings that are going to come from it. So again, just as with the phrase, I don't want to bug people, when we're telling ourselves we're too busy, you have to accept that 90% of the time, that's not really what it is. And you're hiding behind being really busy because you're frightened of the judgment, you're frightened of the rejection, and you're frightened people are going to say things. And so again, if you want to stop having those quiet months, you're going to have to find a way of moving past this. Again, we're thinking about that exposure therapy, just doing something so many times that it just doesn't feel as scary anymore. It doesn't feel as uncomfortable. It doesn't feel as frightening. Or we look at, okay, so I am quite busy. That is true. I have got a lot on, but I could send one message today. What's the smallest version of that we could do so that we can get going with it? So there we have it. They're the 4 key things that I hear people saying all of the time. And if you can tackle these 4, maybe they don't all apply to you, but if you can tackle these 4 and you can do it on a consistent basis, there's that C word again. This can't just be like a little flurry of activity where we reach out to people, a couple of times. It needs to be like consistent activity over a period of time where we say every day, I am going to contact people. I am going to ask people, where appropriate, obviously, I'm going to ask people to take the next step with me. And that's going to look different for everybody. And it's going to look different for the individuals and where they're at with you. And like, what was the last, what did you last talk about? Where are they along that journey of working with you? But if you can get over some of these feelings and stop saying to yourself that you rely on referrals. Stop saying to yourself that you're too busy or that you don't want to bug people and that your work should speak for itself. Because the longer you hold on to those little phrases in your head, the longer you're going to have these quiet months and the longer you're going to stunt your ability to grow your business and you're going to stunt your ability to earn more money. And that's what that's what we're here for, isn't it? We're trying to grow our business and we're trying to earn more money so that we can do more fun stuff that we want to do. So I hope that's been helpful. I would love to hear from you if any of this resonated with you and you are sitting there thinking, yeah, Bex, most of that stuff is exactly what I tell myself every single day. And, come and tell me which one of these most resonated with you. And maybe you could make a little commitment. Maybe you could drop in the comments. Maybe you could drop in there what you're going to do differently from today. Like, what is it that you're going to do? Like, what sort of activity are you going to charge ahead with? And if you're not quite brave enough to share it in the comments, that's fine. But just make the commitment to yourself right now. Put a little bit of time in your diary later on today. Set it as a recurring activity and get yourself into a habit of every single day, start taking some action that's proactive, because the sooner you can do that, the faster you'll move towards having much more consistent and much higher revenue sales months.